Cosmos is an ecosystem of sovereign, customized and interoperable layer 1 blockchains. That means that there is not one chain or one coin that rules them all. There is not one chain that absorbs all the value, which means for you, if you want to bet on Cosmos as a narrative, as a technology stack for 2024 that is going to bring in a lot of new investors, capital and users, then you have to really dig deep into what chains and what narratives you're betting on within the Cosmos ecosystem. At the same time, you might not want to invest into all 80 or 90 of them, but you want to select and really handpick a couple of chains that you are mostly convinced of. And I must say honestly, I had a really tough time. I had a really tough time identifying and nailing it down to 8 coins only. Because I'm so bullish on the Cosmos ecosystem, I'm so bullish on most of these projects, but nailing it down to 8 is very, very tough. Let's do a review of my list from 2023, starting with the Cosmos Hub and Atom. Back then, when I made the video in January of 2023, Atom was priced at $10.41. Today, Atom is priced at $10.10. We have pretty much gone sideways, nothing happened. But what most people underestimate here is the power of airdrops for Atom. And this is something that's never really priced in, right? On top of the 15 to 20% staking APR that we had for staking Atom throughout 2023, we also got a lot of big juicy airdrops. We got the Stride airdrop, we got the Neutron airdrop, we got the TIA, the Celestia airdrop, and many more during 2023. So that said, my conviction back then was at 90%. My conviction level that Atom is, a coin that I want to hold, that I think is still going to be around 5 years from now. And my conviction today is still at 90%. So nothing has actually changed. I think the Cosmos Hub is undergoing a narrative change right now from being a kind of meme coin and the mother chain in Cosmos and an airdrop token to actually building its own ecosystem and becoming an interchain service provider. Another coin I had on that list was Osmosis Osmo, which back then had a price of 72 cents and is today at $1.78. That means roughly a 2.5x return, and my conviction back then was at 90% and it still is at 90%. 2023 has been a very tough year also for Osmosis, and I think a lot of the improvements have been made throughout the bear market, and Osmosis really is the liquidity hub in Cosmos. It's a DeFi chain. It's also an IBC hub in the sense that it's pulling the most volumes since day one. Without Osmosis, IBC would not be where it is today, which means Cosmos would not be where it is today, which means a lot of these other teams would probably not choose to build on Cosmos in the first place. Third coin that I would add to that list is actually Stargaze and the Stars token, which back then when I made the video was at 2.4 cents per coin and now is at roughly 4.5 cents, so that's a 1.9x return. My conviction back then was at 90% and still is today. I think Stargaze being positioned as the premier NFT marketplace in Cosmos, Bad Kids NFTs, that strong community culture, strong product market fit. They have also refined their tokenomics in the bear market. So I'm just very bullish on the product market fit of Stargaze. The next coin I had on this list was a bit of a problem child in 2023, and that is evmos. EVMOS, the EVM on Cosmos, which was highly anticipated and a game changer with the implementation of Ethermint. Well, that turned out to be the worst investment on that list here. And evmos back then when I made the video was at 44 cents and now is only at 10 cents. That means an 80% almost loss. And my conviction back then was around 70%, and I actually increased my conviction now. I'm at 80% because after that year, 2023, a lot of things have happened. A lot of things have now been restructured. evmos 2.0 has launched. They have refined their tokenomics. They have burned a substantial amount of the tokens. But of course, the price performance in 2023 was really bad. Next up, what I had on this list was Axelar Network and Agoric BLD. Axelar was priced at 55 cents, now at $1.10, so that's a 2x return. Agoric BLD was at 35 cents and is now at 20 cents. So that's a 43% downside. And my convictions back then were 80% axelar, 70% agoric, and now both are at 80%. I think specifically axelar has very, very strong product market fit. They're pulling huge volumes. They're really on track, and they have a head start when it comes to becoming then an interoperability hub in the entire crypto space. Next up, we have Akash, Kuji, and Injective, which are all coins that I mentioned towards the end of the video. And Akash Network, AKT, has actually been also my largest addition in my personal portfolio throughout the 2023 bear market. And back when I made the video, Akash was at $22 and is now at $3. So that's a 13.6x return. My conviction has always been extremely high about Akash because they just have this unique value proposition. They just have this unique positioning in the AI and DePIN narrative or niche. Kujira, back then, my conviction was at like 60%. This is an ex-Terra project. I have to think like back when Terra collapsed, Kujira was one of the first teams to come out and say, guys, we're going to build our own Cosmos chain and we're going to come back from this stronger than before. And they said it and they did it, right? But back then, that time window was really like uncertain, right? A lot of people didn't know what's going to happen. How is this ecosystem going to recover? When I made the video, Kuji was at $45. Now it is at $3.88. That's an 8.6x return. And my conviction in Kuji has actually gone up by 20% to 80% now. And then of course the top gainer, Injective INJ, you know them if you're a Cito OG subscriber for a long time. We talked with Eric here on this channel years ago. Injective, when I made the video, was at $1.38 and now is at $38. That's a 27.5x return. Now, so much to my recap of 2023. Now let's actually look into my 2024 game plan, right? And we are trying to do from high cap to low cap. So I try to categorize them, and the ones we already talked about, I'm gonna keep it short, but let's start with the Cosmos Hub Atom. The first one on this list, the highest market cap based on circulating, 3.8 billion as I'm recording this video. And it's in this category of being a provider chain and kind of like this relatively credibly neutral layer 1 blockchain. Cosmos Hub specifically with the Atom Economic Zone becoming an interchain service provider, potentially having Noble migrate and other chains. I think it's going to be very interesting in 2024. And every year I hear the same thing. Every year I hear people saying, yo, Cito, Atom is dead. This coin is cooked. It's not going to come back. It's not going to do this, not going to do that. But guys, Atom survived the bear market. Atom survived the bear market being leaderless, being also without a clear roadmap, right? Being just a community-owned governance token, interchain capital, right? And to be honest, if you factor in all the airdrops, holding Atom was not the worst thing to do during the bear market, right? And if you think back, there's a lot of coins that have been actually washed out, that have been washed out from the top 20, from the top 30, top 50, are now somewhere on page 16, right? There are these coins that are happening, but Atom didn't go through that. Atom is still there. Atom actually is now very strong with teams like Informal Systems, the AA DAO, with Occlusion, Zaki, right? And there's also going to potentially be Atom Wars. There's potentially also going to be inscriptions. There's potentially also going to be more chains to migrate and scalable ICS, shared security solutions. So I'm overall bullish, but I also provide a list here of 3 alternatives that fit into that kind of bucket. The first one I think is actually, ironically, Terra Luna. I think Terra 2.0 is very well positioned and they have a very strong team, strong community, and the ecosystem is kind of coming back to life. So that's one alternative. Another one is actually Archway, which is a very new Cosmos L1, and I think that's one of the newer kids on the Cosmos block, a new generation of smart contract platform and L1. Then we have Agoric. I talked about it in the 2023 recap. Agoric is still here on this list. I'm extremely bullish on Agoric. And then we have Persistence that now have a lot of traction with their liquid staking protocol, P-Stake, as well as Dexter, which is their own in-house DEX. My second Cosmos coin for 2024 is Celestia TIA. And that is, for most people, a new coin that came out of nowhere. But if you're a Cito OG subscriber, you know Celestia. since November of 2021, since well over 2 years. You know Celestia, because we did an interview with John Adler. I think I was the first YouTuber to cover Celestia on the internet in an independent interview, right? So we covered Celestia throughout the past 2.5 years. We tracked a lot of its progress, what modularity is, data availability, and I think Celestia is a must. If you staked Atom, you automatically got your Celestia, well, if you claimed the airdrop. And alternatives for TIA are Celestia ecosystem projects, because I believe that Celestia is going to have its own big season, and it's already a $20 billion based on fully diluted valuation protocol. Based on circulating, it's at a 3.1 billion market cap. But I think that's just going to have its own big narrative this year. This is actually also the only category of coins that is not live yet, but you will most likely get these for staking TIA. So we got Eclipse, that is bringing the Solana VM to IBC. We got Movement Labs, that is bringing the Move VM to IBC. We've got Dimension, which is a rollup framework, and Hyperlane, that also focuses on interoperability. Those could be 4 decent alternatives, but the list for the Celestia ecosystem is very long. So that's just what it is. My next coin for 2024 in Cosmos is Sei Network Sei. It's also a newer project that was launched in August of 2023 on mainnet, has a market cap based on circulating at $1.7 billion US, and I think is one of the pioneers when it comes to being a sector specific app chain that actually focuses on the trading sector, and is now also one of the fastest, actually the fastest chain in existence with their parallelized execution. And they're also going to launch parallel EVM executions, which would be an absolute game changer for the entire crypto space, let's be honest. An alternative for that could be Injective INJ, which we've been covering here, as I said, for a very long time. I think those are actually head-to-head. It's a very close race between them. Then also DYDX, which is now live on their Cosmos chain, pulling insane volumes, very solid and well-positioned. Neutron and Kujira as alternatives in that bucket, right? And like I said earlier, this is just so close for me, right? I'm personally actually holding all of these coins. I hold all of these coins, but for the sake of today's video, I want to give you a list of 8 coins that I think are very sustainable and well positioned, but you can play around with it, right? I think Sei Network, representing this parallel EVM execution and a sector specific chain, there's a lot of kind of alternatives popping up, like the ones I mentioned, Injective, DYDX, Kujira, Neutron. Those are good alternatives, right? But also, of course, some of them have lower market caps, which means more risk, but potentially much more upside. Next up, the 4th coin, we have Osmosis Osmo. I talked about it, is the DeFi chain and IBC hub in Cosmos when it comes to volumes and IBC adoption. $1.7 billion market cap right now based on fully diluted valuation. And alternatives for Osmosis could be Neutron or Astroport even, which is on top of Neutron. We have Kujira as a DeFi chain. We have Kava and Kinetics, which Kinetics is also a perpetuals exchange that I think is going to have a big impact on the Kava chain. And Kava itself, with native USDT in collaboration with Tether, is a big sleeping giant in the Cosmos ecosystem. And then we have one that is a microcap chain, but that also is very interesting, and that is Crescent by B Harvest. They've been around for a long time in crypto in Cosmos. Moving on to the DePIN and AI category, we have, of course, the Akash Network AKT token, ranked number 1 here on my list. 680 million market cap right now. So like I said, this fits into DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure networks, and the artificial intelligence bucket. Alternatives are definitely Fetch AI, one of the largest chains also in Cosmos by market cap in the top 100. Sentinel, which is also focused more on privacy, but also building this decentralized infrastructure with their VPN providers around the world. And I think Sentinel is specifically going to have a lot of use cases around, airdrop claiming with their actually fully decentralized VPN service. Then also Jackal, which is focused on decentralized storage. I think that's a very, very interesting one as well. And Bostrom, which is something I guess no one really understands what they're doing. Super intelligence, I think it's one of the next generation AI projects that only master side understands today. But it is very interesting. I love the guy, I love the team, and I love what they're doing and how they're doing it. But it's very unconventional, right? But it's kind of back to the roots crypto ethos here. Moving on to the sixth coin on that list, and that is in the interoperability and kind of IBC everywhere bucket. And there I have Picasso Network and the Pika token, currently at a $80 million market cap, over 200 million based on fully diluted valuation. We have an alternative for that, Axelar Network, Thorchain, which is also something a lot of people forget, but Thorchain is also a Cosmos chain. And also we got Corium in that bucket, which is a new chain focused on RWAs, but it comes from the Sologenic team, which is the largest DeFi platform in the XRP community, in the XRP ledger. So Corium bringing IBC to XRP. And then we also still have evmos in that bucket, which, like I said earlier, is still not dead. They're still around, they're still building, actually more than ever. So IBC everywhere, Picasso Network, my winner in this category, and Picasso bringing IBC to Solana, enabling also Solana restaking, Sol restaking, which I think this restaking narrative is also going to be very, very big. There's more contenders that will pop up throughout the year, like Babylon Chain and also Landslide Network that will enable restaking for AVAX, and so on and so forth. So Pika, my sixth coin on this list. Seventh, we have Stargaze and the Stars token. Nothing has changed here. If you put a gun on my head and you say, yo, Cito, you have to decide one coin about NFTs and gaming in Cosmos, I would have such a hard time, but I would choose right now Stargaze Stars, simply because they have the strongest product market fit, strongest traction, most volumes, all these metrics that are important right now. But Stargaze Stars right now at 112 million based on fully diluted valuation, and strong contenders in that category though are Omniflix. I think they're very, very high up there as well as Passage, right? Those three are really my strongest bets, and I think all three of them are going to do extremely, extremely well. I love the Omniflix team, I love the Passage team. I'm personally holding all three in my portfolio, so I'm very, very bullish on all three of them. But right now, with the Bad Kids hype, you know, airdrops for Bad Kids, and all these numbers that Stargaze has been pulling, that's the winner for me right now. And we also have one that's coming up called Saga, which is the gaming hub in Cosmos, but that one is not live yet. My eighth and last coin on that list is also a DeFi application and DeFi app chain, and that is Quasar and the QSR token, which I think is still quietly and slowly in the backgrounds, but it is still pulling volumes, increasing TVL, increasing activity, increasing everything. And it's really the gateway for stablecoin liquidity right now. And I think it's the least talked about on that list today in the broader crypto space and the broader Cosmos space. But I think it's going to do really, really, really well. An alternative for that, because we haven't really touched upon that at all, is liquid staking protocols such as Stride or P-Stake. I think those are going to do really, really well as well. Stride obviously $100 million in TVL. I think Quasar is around 12 or 13 million as I'm recording this video right now. And we also have the counterpart to Quasar, obviously Sommelier. I'm beyond bullish on Sommelier as well. Sommelier is Quasar for Ethereum. So Sommelier deploys automated DeFi strategies on Ethereum while being a Cosmos chain, and Quasar is a Cosmos chain and focuses also on Cosmos DeFi. Then we also have Nolos in that bucket, which is a chain that's also very, very low in terms of engagement and people talking about it, but I think they have very similar kind of traction, and they're the underdogs in Cosmos, right? I think Quasar and Nolos are two of the biggest underdogs in Cosmos, but very strong team, strong product market fit, volumes increasing, everything is increasing. So very bullish on that. And then lastly, also what fits into that are the lending providers, Mars or Umi, as alternatives to Quasar. But yeah, that's my list. To recap, the Cosmos Hub Atom, Celestia Tia, Sei Network Sei, Osmosis Osmo, Akash Network AKT, Picasso Network Pika, Stargaze Stars, and Quasar QSR. And if I missed out talking about one project or token that you're holding or that's in the Cosmos ecosystem, then please don't be mad, right? It's simply impossible to stay up to date with absolutely everything in depth at this point. Cosmos is just exploding, which is a good sign, to be honest. And that comes from a guy who is literally spending every wake hour researching, reading, talking, and thinking about Cosmos. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and be good.